So quite a lot of changes in the way we treat hair conditions in the UK, particularly in the last year. So I'll try and make it interactive. Can you tell me what JAK inhibitor is licensed for use for alopecia areata in the UK? It just came 2 months ago. Baricitinib has not been. The NICE guidelines found that it was not cost effective. So we can't give baricitinib for alopecia areata. It's actually Ritlecitinib. So this is the drug which they found had some cost effectiveness, and they based it on this Lancet article which came last year. In this article, they looked at how Ritlecitinib may be helpful for alopecia areata. Quite a big study, 118 sites in 18 countries, a really big study. And they used various doses. They used 30 milligrams, 50 milligrams. They tried a loading dose of 200 milligrams first, then went to 30 and 50. And the results were pretty good. I mean, if you look at most of the drugs for JAK inhibitors, they're not dramatic. These are people with quite extensive hair loss, at least 50% of hair loss. But if you look at the response rate, it's about 40%. I mean, now we have PASI scores of PASI 100 of 90%. 80 to 90%. So when you look at our psoriasis treatment, alopecia areata treatment doesn't seem to be that great, but at least we've got something now. Before we had nothing. At least we have something. And if you look at even the placebo effect is fairly significant here, nearly 20%. They did these various doses and they found that 30 or 50 milligrams seemed to be the best. They tried 10, it didn't work. You can see that's the lowest. 30 and 50 are more or less the same. So 50 is the one which most people go for. They didn't find a great deal of difference with the loading dose. If you give a loading dose, it goes up quicker, but then the other modalities catch up. Eyebrow hair growth was higher. It's closer to 50 to 60% compared to the rest of the hair. Remember, all of these people had really severe hair loss. More than 50% of the hair was lost. So for them to have such a good response is quite good, particularly after many years. Very dramatic. So SALT score of 60.8 come down to 0.48 in 24 weeks. The other thing they also found that if you use it for a bit longer, it was even better. So if you continue with it for about a year, it stabilizes and perhaps goes up even a little bit higher. There are other studies, particularly with baricitinib. The results are fairly similar, about 30 to 35%, but I think the cost effectiveness according to NICE was better with ritlecitinib. That's why this is the only drug we can give in the UK for alopecia areata. We can't give any of the other drugs. Let's look very briefly at the investigations we need to do. I always do these before we give it. Full blood count usenes and creatinine, that's a baseline for everyone. Hepatitis screen, because it can provoke infections, as we'll see later. TB screen does seem to be important. It does seem to aggravate pre-existing tuberculosis. And an unusual test, usually we don't do lipids for any other drug except acitretin or isotretinoin. So for an immunomodulator to do lipids is unusual, but it is a drug which can raise lipids, so it's well worth doing. The side effects, most of them, the minor ones are, the usual nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, which is about 10 to 15%. Increased risk of infections. There is the possibility of acne. We call it JAKne. So if you get it with JAK inhibitors, it's called JAKne. I've had at least 2 patients with JAKne. Both of them responded to topical agents. Both of them didn't have to stop their JAK inhibitor. And as we've discussed, it can increase the LDL cholesterol, which is the main risk factor for coronary artery disease. So you have to be really careful that LDL cholesterol is the one we measure. There are other more serious side effects. Zoster recurrence seems to be quite high. So that's again something we have to look out for. DVTs. Even in young people, DVTs seem to occur. TB reactivation we've talked about. Liver damage isn't that common. The ones we are most worried about in the UK are the major adverse cardiovascular events, MACE. So general consensus is if a person is above 60, you're much more likely to get these. So I would be very cautious about using a JAK inhibitor, somebody above the age of 60. You should explain to them that there is a possibility. If you look at the odds ratio, it's similar to TNF antagonists, and that's not that high. Something which we are still learning about. All JAKs for dermatology have been maybe about 5 years, maximum 10 years. So we don't have the long-term data yet. The other worrying thing is we don't know its association with malignancy yet. They still put it in the black box about the MACE and the malignancy in the UK. So again, it's something which we have to watch out for.